This just crossed a red line. The FBI exposed a cartel takeover of Detroit's main airport, run from the inside.
Evelyn Markham and her son Adrian linked to CJNG narcotics network. 67 operatives arrested, 4.3 tons of drugs seized, and $138 million frozen. Operation Wolverine Shield exposes one of the largest internal airport breaches in U.S. history. A cartel infiltrated our airport, our systems, our people. Tonight, Michigan takes back control. 4:58 a.m., November 19th, 2025, FBI and DHS agents converge on Detroit Metropolitan Airport. Their target, the airport director's private office. Operation Wolverine Shield is about to begin. An internal audit has uncovered Michigan's largest cartel infiltration. CJNG narcotics have been entering the U.S. through a covert airport gateway. And the mastermind, one woman, Evelyn Markham, Michigan's proud airport director. On her desk, agents found 3 encrypted hard drives containing cartel routing codes and over $72 million in cash. Nearby, dozens of restricted area passes were issued to individuals with no official ties, many linked directly to CJNG. This wasn't ordinary corruption. This was an internal breach turning the state's largest airport into a cartel headquarters, orchestrated by Markham herself. Before dawn, federal agents swept into the operations wing. Every trace pointed to CJNG. Evidence revealed 46 midnight cargo flights over 4 years, vague manifests, impossible waits, and routing codes linked to Mexico. Markham had infiltrated high-access airport roles with operatives, many unqualified or using fake identities. Her son, 19-year-old Adrian Markham, worked night logistics, moving pallets, signaling crews, and relaying messages. A junior operator trained by his mother. The system was so efficient, CJNG operatives called Detroit Metro Airport La Puerta del Norte, the North Gate. At the center, Evelyn Markham. As the investigation widened, the full scope emerged. Michigan had been compromised. The network spanned runways, warehouses, trucking hubs, and private airstrips. In a DHS command center, officials tracked live drone feeds, satellite maps, and telemetry. Acting Regional Director Michael Rohr spoke clearly. This is not just a drug raid. This is counter-infiltration. A cartel has exploited our airport, our contracts, and our people. Tonight, Michigan will be reclaimed. At 2:14 a.m., 840 federal agents mobilized. Blacked-out SUVs rolled across Detroit, Dearborn, Lansing, and Grand Rapids. DHS armored vehicles and FBI hostage rescue teams advanced on CJNG warehouses. Helicopters lifted from Selfridge Air Base, slicing through the cold night sky. Detroit, a warehouse disguised as an aviation parts recycler. Explosive charges tore open steel doors. Flashbangs illuminated pallets as cartel gunmen fired blindly. Federal teams advanced in coordinated waves, neutralizing resistance. Flint, a repurposed aircraft hangar barricaded with steel plates. Agents breached despite signal jamming drones, seizing pallets of meth and cocaine, cargo identical to shipments approved by Markham inside the airport. Grand Rapids, 3 trucks tied to Markham's network attempted escape. Helicopters tracked them, highway units blocked their path. One driver reached for a rifle. Agents responded instantly. The others surrendered. By dawn, federal forces had struck 32 critical targets across Michigan. The coordinated raids led to the capture of 67 confirmed CJNG operatives and the arrest of 9 corrupted local officials, including inspectors, procurement supervisors, and county administrators who had secretly aided the cartel. Multiple airport employees were detained for questioning, exposing a deeply embedded network of internal collaborators. Adrian Markham, 19, was apprehended inside a Detroit warehouse attempting to erase digital evidence from an internal server. His role as a junior coordinator under his mother's guidance had been crucial to the cartel's operations. Michigan had not merely witnessed law enforcement raids. It had endured a statewide confrontation, a war waged in the dead of night, triggered by one airport director's betrayal. This wasn't just a law enforcement victory. Millions of dollars laundered through maintenance suppliers, fake nonprofits, and shell companies across Michigan and Ontario were only the tip of the iceberg. Investigators discovered a deeply entrenched criminal network operating within Detroit Metro Airport, one that had turned a symbol of commerce and public safety into a hub for international narcotics trafficking. Among the most damning discoveries were the Nexus folders, detailed profiles of 48 airport employees, including baggage handlers, runway escorts, TSA contractors, and night shift staff. Each profile documented access levels, vulnerabilities, and payment arrangements, showing how these employees were recruited, coerced, or bribed to facilitate the cartel's operations. Encrypted communications recovered during the investigation revealed the full extent of Evelyn Markham's involvement. The airport director negotiated narcotics delivery schedules directly with CJNG commanders, threatened city inspectors demanding larger payouts, and orchestrated deliberate camera blackouts to create blind spots for narcotics arrivals. Her 19-year-old son, Adrian Markham, acted as a junior coordinator, supervising pallet movements, signaling crews, and relaying messages to CJNG drivers. By midday, federal analysts had confirmed the chilling truth. A fully integrated, multi-state, international narcotics pipeline had been operating under Evelyn Markham's authority for years. Detroit Metro Airport, once a bustling symbol of travel and commerce, had been transformed into CJNG's most valuable northern asset. Michigan was no longer merely infiltrated, it had become a meticulously engineered cartel superhighway. Evelyn Markham leveraged her authority to manipulate airport operations, strategically placing cartel operatives in high-access roles, many unqualified or using fake identities, to facilitate seamless smuggling operations. Pallets of methamphetamine, cocaine, and fentanyl moved through secured storage rooms, loaded onto trucks operated by shell companies, and distributed across the state, even crossing into Canada. The logistical efficiency rivaled multinational corporations, yet the human cost was staggering, contributing to the overdose epidemic and violent crimes linked to cartel activity. At 2:14 a.m. on November 19, 2025, nearly 840 federal agents mobilized across Detroit, Dearborn, Lansing, and Grand Rapids. Blacked-out SUVs rolled through deserted highways while DHS armored vehicles and FBI hostage rescue teams advanced on CJNG-controlled warehouses. Helicopters lifted from Selfridge Air Base, cutting through the cold night sky, ready to support ground operations. By dawn, Operation Wolverine Shield had struck 32 critical targets across the state, resulting in 67 confirmed CJNG operatives captured, 9 corrupted local officials arrested, and multiple airport employees detained for questioning. Adrian Markham was apprehended inside a Detroit warehouse, attempting to erase digital evidence from an internal server. Michigan had not merely witnessed raids, it had endured a statewide war triggered by one airport director's betrayal. Inside FBI cyber forensics labs in downtown Detroit, analysts worked tirelessly to decrypt hard drives, phones, laptops, and warehouse servers. Routing maps traced CJNG narcotics shipments from Detroit Metro Airport to hubs in Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa, confirming an international smuggling pipeline. Financial ledgers disguised as aviation consulting invoices revealed over $127 million laundered through maintenance suppliers, fake nonprofits, and shell companies. The Nexus folders were particularly damning. Profiles of 48 airport employees, including baggage handlers, runway escorts, TSA contractors, and night shift staff, detailed their recruitment, weaknesses, and payout arrangements. Communications revealed Markham coordinating delivery schedules with CJNG commanders, issuing threats to inspectors, demanding higher payouts, and manipulating airport cameras to create blind spots. Adrian ensured uninterrupted shipment movement, acting as a junior coordinator under his mother's direction. By midday, federal analysts concluded the CJNG network was a fully integrated, multi-state international operation running under Evelyn Markham's control. Detroit Metro Airport had been transformed into CJNG's most valuable northern asset. Evelyn Markham had built a criminal empire that leveraged systemic weaknesses, manipulated employees, and exploited aviation infrastructure to create a cartel superhighway. The reach was unprecedented. Shipments of methamphetamine, cocaine, and fentanyl moved seamlessly from secure storage to trucks operated by shell companies, eventually reaching destinations across Michigan and into Canada. Federal agencies discovered documents revealing CJNG plans to replicate the Detroit Metro Airport model in Ohio, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Airports with weak oversight or vulnerable leadership were primary targets. In response, DHS issued a nationwide directive for airport corruption screenings, the most aggressive aviation personnel review since post-9/11. Evelyn Markham faces charges, including conspiracy with a designated transnational criminal organization, large-scale narcotics trafficking, money laundering, tampering with aviation security systems, public corruption, and endangering interstate and international commerce. Adrienne Markham faces separate charges, including aiding and abetting drug trafficking, obstruction of justice, and handling prohibited cargo inside a restricted federal aviation zone. Prosecutors highlighted his role as a junior operator under his mother's direction, marking him as a key participant in the network. The revelations sent shockwaves across Michigan. Airport employees felt betrayed. Lawmakers demanded a full overhaul of state aviation oversight. Communities questioned how a single airport director could funnel tons of narcotics into the country while manipulating employees and city officials. Investigators concluded that Evelyn Markham was not a mere pawn. She was a strategic partner the cartel relied upon to manipulate supply chains and airport operations. Her downfall raises chilling questions. How many other entry points in airports across the nation could be quietly exploited? Operation Wolverine Shield may have ended with arrests, seizures, and the dismantling of Michigan's cartel superhighway, but its legacy carries a stark warning. One compromised airport director was enough to transform an entire U.S. state into a trafficking corridor. Federal agencies are now actively searching for other potential gateways that could be operating under the radar, hidden in plain sight. At 4:32 a.m. in Los Angeles, a massive multi-agency federal operation was launched as the DEA, FBI, and ICE targeted a Sinaloa-run network known as Project Solaris. Agents seized 3.4 tons of narcotics, $19.4 million in cash, and several encrypted hard drives pointing to a major political corruption scheme. According to federal analysts, the evidence exposed governor-level involvement, 112 compromised state officials, and more than $410 million in laundered cartel funds. Authorities say this may be the largest political cartel infiltration ever uncovered on U.S. soil. The investigation is still on at 4:32 a.m. Los Angeles lay cloaked in a dense, chilling marine fog. The city's familiar rhythms, the neon glow bouncing off rain-slick streets, the distant hum of traffic, the intermittent wail of sirens, were abruptly shattered when the first flashbang detonated. In a single heartbeat, the streets transformed from quiet, pre-dawn calm into a war zone. Federal teams from the DEA, FBI, and ICE moved with military precision, hitting multiple locations simultaneously. Targets included high-stakes casinos, cartel-run bars, warehouses, and even political offices, all linked to a criminal network hidden in plain sight for years. This was not merely another cartel raid. It was the opening strike against Project Solaris, a clandestine network that had quietly infiltrated California's institutions. For years, the operation had funneled narcotics into communities across the state, laundering hundreds of millions through legitimate businesses, nonprofit organizations, real estate developments, and infrastructure projects. What authorities would uncover in the coming hours would shock the nation and redefine the limits of criminal political collusion. The first wave struck 7 underground casinos, 11 cartel-controlled bars, 3 massage parlors used as fronts, and 4 industrial warehouses stretching from downtown Los Angeles to Riverside. In one Koreatown casino, chaos erupted immediately. Slot machines shattered from breach charges, poker chips scattered like confetti, and couriers attempted desperate escapes carrying duffel bags filled with cash and narcotics. None made it far. Within minutes, 168 suspects were immobilized, zip-tied, and surrounded by federal agents who moved like ghosts through alleys and hidden passages. Beneath a shattered chandelier, trays of blue fentanyl pills gleamed like precious stones. Across multiple sites, authorities confiscated 320 kilograms of cocaine, 1.2 tons of methamphetamine, 840,000 fentanyl pills, and $19.4 million in cash. But the most astonishing discovery lay beneath the hardwood floor of a private gambling suite. Two small steel boxes containing encrypted hard drives. These were not ordinary financial records. They contained a blueprint of corruption and criminal activity that reached the highest levels of California's political leadership. By early afternoon, federal vans rolled silently into police stations across multiple counties. The streets outside were quiet, almost too quiet, a tense calm before the storm inside. Officers who had once wielded authority with unquestioned legitimacy now found themselves powerless, handcuffed, and surrounded by federal agents. Senior sergeants, deputy chiefs, and commanders were let out under stunned silence, their reputations reduced to whispers of disbelief. Some had leaked highly sensitive convoy routes directly to cartel operatives, allowing massive shipments of narcotics to flow unimpeded. Others had deliberately closed way stations, diverted patrol units, or altered enforcement schedules, all to serve the shadow network of Solaris. The betrayal was systemic, woven into every layer of law enforcement, leaving shock waves that would reverberate through departments for years to come. By nightfall, the arrests were staggering. 41 officers, 19 federal employees, and 7 high-ranking officials were taken into custody, while judges and legislators implicated in Solaris's operations were placed under strict investigative protocols. California's law enforcement map glowed red, not to indicate crime hotspots, but the extensive reach of systemic corruption. What had seemed like isolated incidents of misconduct now revealed themselves as threads in a sprawling web of complicity that extended far beyond Los Angeles, seeping into Nevada, Oregon, and Arizona. The shadow network had embedded itself deeply into nonprofit organizations, infrastructure grants, renewable energy initiatives, and critical logistical routes, moving as much as 2.5 tons of narcotics weekly without raising any alarms. Encrypted communications uncovered during the raids were chilling in their precision. Terms such as supply chain pressure, temporary inspection relaxations, and humanitarian diversion lanes were not innocent bureaucratic jargon. They were code for narcotics shipments, route manipulations, and covert protection by law enforcement. Solaris had not merely infiltrated the system, it had replaced it. Its influence was invisible yet absolute, operating in the shadows of governance, policy, and commerce. Every law meant to protect the citizens of California had been subverted, turned into a tool to protect and expand the cartel's reach. By early afternoon, federal vans rolled silently into police stations across multiple counties, moving with a precision that seemed almost surgical. The streets outside remained eerily calm, a deceptive quiet before the storm inside. Those who had once commanded authority with unquestioned legitimacy now found themselves powerless, handcuffed, and confronted with the very institutions they had once upheld. Senior sergeants, deputy chiefs, and commanders were led out of their offices under stunned silence, their faces betraying disbelief, shame, and fear. These were the people responsible for maintaining law and order, now reduced to witnesses of their own downfall. Some had leaked sensitive convoy routes directly to cartel operatives, enabling massive shipments of narcotics to traverse the state unhindered. Others had deliberately closed way stations, altered patrol schedules, and rerouted law enforcement resources, all to protect and facilitate the clandestine operations of Project Solaris. The scope of the betrayal was so extensive that what had seemed like isolated misconduct now revealed itself as a meticulously woven network of collusion and corruption. By nightfall, the human cost of the operation was staggering. 41 law enforcement officers, 19 federal employees, and 7 high-ranking officials had been arrested, while judges, legislators, and bureaucrats implicated in the network were placed under strict investigative custody. California's law enforcement map glowed red, not with crime, but with the systemic corruption that had infiltrated nearly every level of authority. The scale of Solaris extended far beyond Los Angeles, reaching into Nevada, Oregon, and Arizona. The network leveraged nonprofit organizations, infrastructure grants, renewable energy initiatives, shipping contractors, and agricultural channels to move an estimated 2.5 tons of narcotics per week without ever triggering automated detection systems. What had once appeared as normal administrative process or standard oversight was now revealed as a complex, highly efficient mechanism for smuggling drugs, laundering money, and corrupting public officials. Encrypted communications recovered during the raids were chilling in their precision. Terms such as supply chain pressure, temporary inspection relaxations, and humanitarian diversion lanes were not benign bureaucratic jargon. They were coded instructions for the movement of narcotics convoys, diversion of enforcement efforts, and shielding of high-value shipments. Solaris had not merely infiltrated government, it had become government. Invisible yet omnipotent, it had embedded itself seamlessly into political, judicial, and law enforcement frameworks, creating a shadow state that operated under the guise of legitimacy. Every law, policy, and regulation designed to protect California's citizens had been systematically subverted, allowing the cartel to operate with impunity while maintaining the illusion of normal governance. By evening, the final decrypted file of the operation, Phase 7, Regional Stabilization, exposed the governor's ultimate objective. Governor Alexander "Alex" Cortez had orchestrated a plan to establish California as the permanent West Coast headquarters for the Sinaloa cartel, shielded not by violence, but by political authority and systemic control. Federal agents recoiled at the revelation. Solaris was not simply a criminal enterprise. It was a fully functional parallel state, a hybrid entity that merged the resources and legitimacy of government with the logistical and financial prowess of organized crime. Its tentacles reached into industries, charitable organizations, and public institutions, ensuring that every policy decision, every infrastructure project, and every administrative approval served the cartel's interests. The operation had unveiled a level of calculated corruption and collusion unprecedented in U.S. history. The final wave of nightfall was executed with meticulous planning. Convoys were intercepted mid-route, bank accounts froze instantly, warehouses were seized, and high-ranking officials were arrested. Judges and legislators who had facilitated or ignored Solaris operations were detained, while servers containing the operational intelligence of the network were confiscated. These servers revealed an intricate digital labyrinth of financial transfers, communications, and logistical coordination. Every shipment, payment, and operational directive was documented, exposing the full scope of Solaris's reach. Within a single day, the political empire that had shielded the cartel collapsed, leaving behind a stark landscape of betrayal, systemic failure, and the urgent need for institutional rebuilding. As dawn broke over Los Angeles, the fog that had once shrouded the city now mirrored the revelation that had settled over its institutions. Solaris had thrived not because it was unstoppable, but because those in positions of authority chose to look away. One waiver, one exemption, one ignored warning at a time. Power destroys a state not merely with bullets. It destroys it with silence, complacency, and complicity. California had not merely been infiltrated, it had been betrayed from within. The people who had trusted their leaders and law enforcement found themselves confronting a grim reality. The very mechanisms designed to protect them had been weaponized to serve criminal interests. Investigators issued a sobering warning. If Solaris could succeed once, it could happen again. Exposure, transparency, and vigilant oversight remain the only bulwark against corruption embedded in power. The operation had not only dismantled a criminal network, but had also exposed fundamental weaknesses